that we have is around intelligence. It says that what is intelligence and how does it apply for a baby? Let's look at this objectively. So intelligence essentially has three components, three basic components, right? One is languages, the second is memory, and the third is logic. Okay, let me tell you all about the three components of intelligence. So when we talk about language is actually a superbly complex skill for any person to have, right? You basically, what you're doing is you're taking some squiggly lines on a piece of paper, you're making sense of it, you're remembering all the sentences that came before it. So all the squiggly lines that came before the one that you are focusing on, you're retaining them in memory, you're processing all of it, and you're making sense of it, right? And all of those squiggly lines can actually have the power to drive emotions in you. So it can make you feel happy, sad, embarrassed, angry, anything, right? Depending on what you're reading. So just think about it. How complex of a skill it is to be able to make sense of just some squiggly lines on a piece of paper and be able to transform your entire body and mind through emotions. Now, if you read any foreign language, a script that you don't know, right? You cannot comprehend what it is. But to be able to read your native language, it must be an amazing ability to have that, right? So the first component of intelligence is language and the ability to master language. And that is why if you see any kind of competitive exams or college admissions, workplace communication, everything that we do, language is superbly important, but we take it for granted most of the time. So that's number one, languages. The second component is memory. Memory has a direct correlation with IQ and intelligence, right? So the more you are able to remember, the more you are able to process, the more you are deemed intelligent in today's world. A good memory helps us take everyday decisions. A good memory helps us to solve problems. A good memory also helps us to carry out our daily lives, as well as hold smart conversations, be more social, just have that sense of intelligence and leadership as well, right? So the good memory is the second component of intelligence, which we also must focus on. The third component of intelligence is logic. Logic is more fact-based and it is also experience-based. For example, a construction worker might use logic in a different way than what a mathematician or a physicist would use, right? So a construction worker might be more concerned with how the bricks have to be laid, how the hammer has to come onto the brick, that kind of thing, and that also requires some amount of logic. While a mathematician would seek to use logic to solve mathematical problems. However, all the logic in the world actually fundamentally comes down to 10 foundation stones of logic that we cover in Raising Superstars. So what are these? These are things like size, logic of quantity, logic of time, logic of space, etc., etc. And there are 10 of these concepts, but logic forms one of the three pillars or the three components of intelligence. And when we talk about intelligence for our babies, we want to stimulate these three things in our babies: languages, memory, and logic. And of course, at Raising Superstars, we cover all of these three things. If you're interested, you can always sign up for one of our programs where we will tell you more about this in detail.